What's up, y'all? Follow up to my last post. I said I was gonna come with it for China, the Honduras snake caravan, and I think I'm just gonna cover the Honduras thing right now because that seems to be fizzling out. Here they paid people to come up from Honduras. These people are supposedly poor, but they're wearing designer clothes and they have banners and extremely nice flags. I don't know what poor person can afford those kinds of things. I suggest you go price a flag or a banner and see how much it costs. Then you can figure out for yourself whether these people are really poor or not. They're coming up through the middle of Central America and now Mexico. They broke through the gates, and now they're in the path of this hurricane that's that's headed that direction. Very, very interesting stuff that's happening. So ultimately, I think it ties into what President Trump did by re-signing the treaty with Mexico and Canada, that he is making Mexico pay for it. Because if Mexico thinks they're going to let these people just pass through and they're going to go into America, it's not what's happening. They're invading Mexico and starting to compete with Mexico's citizens. So you're getting where if Mexico won't pay to build a wall for either Mexico on the south or for the United States up above, they're gonna pay by getting a taste of what we have to go through here in America when people come here illegally and take advantage of us and take our jobs and outcompete us because they basically don't have to pay taxes. They're undocumented, and since they're undocumented, how do they ever document their taxes? Why would they? That would be foolish. It's best to stay undocumented. So Mexico's going to experience a lot of that, and they already are because last year there was a caravan that is either the end of last year or the beginning of this year that an earlier caravan came up, but they couldn't get across the border, so they pretty much stayed in TJ and are taking all the jobs and all the places of the people who live there in Tijuana. So the citizens of Mexico are starting to get pissed off about illegal immigration too. The Democrats talking about their blue wave, that was their blue wave. They were waving blue flags, they were waving blue banners, but they were all wearing red, as communist red, if you notice. If you look at the crowd from afar, it was blue and red. It was blue for the Democrats and communist red, and those were the voters for this coming election who are going to break through the barriers and then come vote Democrat. Because the Democrats are so screwed right now because they have no platform, and basically their platform is the opposite of everything that would benefit the United States. And they keep showing everybody that they don't love the United States. They're against the United States and want to support the enemies of the United States for the sake of globalism. So that's my take on the Honduran refugee or line. It looked very similar to the one of the Syrian refugees going throughout Europe and the African refugees going throughout Europe, all the Muslim refugees of men about 31 years old, plus or minus, and they're actually fighting age men willing to do damage. And so you see what happened to Europe. Mexico is going to start seeing what's going to happen to them as those people start to take over and blend into their economy. I read a thing on Canada and how Canada is not even treating their illegal immigrants properly. They're supposed to be putting them in a refugee camp or an immigration camp for illegal immigrants, and what they're doing is they're taking taxpayer funds and putting them in hotels and the finer things at the expense of the Canadian citizens. So Donald Trump is the only one who's doing something to defend us here in the United States, and God love him, you're going to see another term. You watch, you're going to see another term, especially since the Democrats weren't able to get those voters across the border yet. And with the military there, it should be interesting. I think it would be even more interesting is if Americans somehow put together a caravan and went down to the borders just to meet the Honduran caravan, just to show them, look, we support our military and we're here to back them if they need anything. And I think that would be a great show of solidarity and support. But the problem is Americans are working. We don't have time to screw around like that. We got jobs and bills to pay. And it's too bad that those people leaving their countries don't have that same opportunity in their own countries. And a lot of that's their own fault because they're the voters and they allow the people to stay in power who shouldn't be in power. They could easily overthrow them, and then that's their solution, is to run away. It's very socialist. It's very the way the Democrats work. See, they come to a state like California because it's beautiful, great weather, and then they vote liberal, leftist, I should say. Liberals, really not a good term for what leftists are. They vote socialist, and they destroy the economy of the state. And then what do? When there are no jobs, they leave and they go to another state that's most likely run by Republicans where there are jobs. And then what do there? They vote for the liberal leftist, did liberal again. They vote for the leftist causes again and end up destroying that economy. Everywhere Democrats run, the economy gets destroyed. And that's because the people are socialist and leftist, and they don't realize what they're doing. If they would wake up and turn Republican, be more conservative, start educating themselves about how the economy works, we would all benefit. And I think Donald Trump has benefited us greatly. We're going to see it. Right now we have a crash in the stock market again. It's about a 500-point down, and everybody's panicking. But in the perspective of things, that's a small down. I already told you how I protect myself from down markets. I capitalize off of them. The bond market is having an epic rally, and that again, I put in another video that I believe bonds are gonna, or maybe I didn't put in a video, I just did a post on Facebook about how I believe government long-term bonds are going to rally dramatically because people still see us as the safe haven of the world because we're the most stable economy with the most stable people and government. We may have disagreements on the Democrat and Republican side, but we don't have them go into fisticuffs like they do in other countries. So, like I said, I expect to see a long-term rally in bonds because the government will buy it up too to make sure that everybody stays in bonds, because bonds are the source of every financing part of the economy. So if the bonds crash, everything else crashes. So expect to see a rally in bonds, and I am seeing that today. So anyway, that's my take on the Honduran crisis. I'll get on the Chinese trade war later. Peace.